Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm Robert, the real life human being behind this channel, and it's insanity. Let's get straight into it and get to the heart of the details. The last video is fascinating in multiple ways, but it is also very embarrassing. I have a mistake in that video that is so egregious, it just makes me wonder why. Why this thing could go so horribly wrong. I could have removed it and fixed it and made a perfect video, but that defeats the purpose of why I left it in. That defeats one of the critical purposes of why I built this channel to begin with. That mistake is so glaring that it is disturbing when you first see it. It makes the brain just stop. And really, that's what I hope it does. I hope it does make you just stop and wonder what went wrong. Even though the message is very clear for the video and the purpose is very clear, that one mistake is also equally as clear, with its intentions and its purpose. So let's get into it. I'm not going to give the mistake away, because I want you to go watch the video and see it. I want you to feel the disconnect as your brain processes that mistake as we continue this conversation. The intent of my channel has always been to critique society from the standpoint of a very strict fundamental survival imperative. The reverse of what we do now in academia, which is to always criticize the past from our modern day perspective. I've flipped that upside down entirely for the context of what this channel represents, and I critique the present from the entire worldview of a people that struggled every moment of their lives in some way or another just to live to see another day. They obviously survived, or we still wouldn't be here today. And I think that's the point that we need to focus on, the point that we need to really have in clarity. They survived, not because life was fair or life was nice. It wasn't. They survived out of sheer tenacity and the hope of building a better tomorrow, which for them they did. We are that better tomorrow. We are the benefactors of all of their sacrifices. And it's up to us to build a better tomorrow for our children. And when we look at the society around us, that's becoming more and more difficult to see a better tomorrow. But that's a whole different video. For the purposes of this part of what I'm discussing, let's just focus on the video itself that I published a couple of days ago. Its intentions are twofold, as with all of my videos: to critique the social issue, and more importantly, to get you to think about this technology. Because the same technology, identical in every way to what produces my videos, is in charge of 4-ton vehicles driving on the freeways. That's right, self-driving vehicles use this exact same technology. It's the same technology used by flock cameras and facial recognition that police use to arrest people. And I have published several articles on my Patreon discussing how AI facial recognition mistakes have ruined people's lives. Now, we could talk about statistics, and it doesn't happen that often. But the truth is, it happens more often than you think. Some reports go as high as 40% mistakes. So 40% of the population, potentially speaking, are labeled criminals when they've never even broken a law in their life. That's the problem with this technology. That's the whole point of why my channel exists. I can make critiques on society, but I can also demonstrate very visibly why you shouldn't just trust this technology. If I can't get it to make a basic picture without a screw-up, how the hell can you trust it to decide whether or not it's going to ruin somebody's life with a false accusation? Take a long time to think about that. Do you feel safe driving down a freeway or roadway with a vehicle weighing 4 tons or more being driven by a machine that might not even see you, or might decide you are an obstacle that should be hit, like a speed bump? Tesla has already lost one major case in this, where the self-driving mode was responsible, and they have to pay a judgment of $243 million. That's right, you heard me. The AI, the mechanism for this thing driving itself, was found 1/3 responsible for the death of a living person, and they have to pay for it. Somebody died because the machine failed and didn't see them. For those that call it a statistic, just remember, these statistics matter when they're real lives. And every time you get on the road, every time you start your car up, every time you go out in public, you are simply one breath away from becoming a statistic. These machines should never be trusted. They should never be the arbiters of what truth is, because they don't know. But they're being normalized in such a way that you have to prove yourself innocent. I recently posted an article on my Patreon talking about 5 people who had their lives ruined through false arrests. They didn't commit any crimes, yet they were punished and their permanent criminal records affected because the machine decided they were guilty. One particular case that's in the article, let me know if you want me to put the link in the comments. They ended up spending 6 months in jail for something they never did. And they weren't even in the state, nor have they ever visited the state that this crime supposedly took place in. So imagine 6 months of your life ruined because of this. Losing your house, losing your pets because of a mistake. And you know what the worst part of this was? Oh well, we made a mistake. Too bad. They let her out on the street corner in the city where the police department was, not sending her back to her home state and not recovering anything or helping her rebuild her life. They made an accusation. They found her guilty. And then when she proved she wasn't guilty, oh well, too bad, your life is ruined. It's not our fault. Yes, it is. The machine is a tool. And as soon as we forget that, we forget that the person behind it needs to be accountable for what they do. I can laugh at my mistakes with my videos. I can embarrass myself because the picture looks so weird that it really is disturbing. But in all of what I do on this channel, not one single person is ever harmed. Nobody's life is ruined. My credibility might not stand the test of time, but considering my age, I don't even know if that matters. And in the end of it all, I've proven my point. The police departments, the flock cameras, the places that AI are put in mission-critical situations that should never be there to begin with. They are a disease that is going to destroy this society. It's going to destroy people's lives more so than it has done already. That is what we need to put an end to. AI should never be a shortcut for a proper investigation. AI should never be the deciding factor when somebody should be arrested and have their life ruined. And the people who have had false arrests because of AI facial recognition, they should sue these police departments into oblivion. They should have their records expunged. And when the newspapers print these reports of their arrests on page 1, they should also print the corrections on page 1, not page 5. They should be held accountable as well for perpetuating this egregious disease. Using AI as a sole arbiter for a decision is intellectually bankrupt and morally bankrupt. And any police department or legal institution or even an educational institution that base decisions solely from the standpoint of AI, and that includes YouTube AI moderation, Discord moderation, Reddit moderation, anywhere where AI is placed in such an authoritative role, they should be penalized heavily and aggressively for abdicating accountability and responsibility. These machines should never be trusted, ever. They're good for research. They're good for the blank page syndrome, but they are never good for making the final decision. They are never a replacement for making the final decision, and they should never be accepted at face value, no matter what. I've said this countless times in the 30 years I have actually been in this field in some capacity. These machines are just that. They are machines. They are not replacements for human beings. They will never be replacements for human beings. And any human being that does try to replace another human being with this machine should themselves be replaced. Leave a comment, share your thoughts, let me know what you think. If you would like to have those articles posted, let me know, and I will post them in the comments below. Let's have a discussion about where we are really at in this situation. Please subscribe to this channel, it does help. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't like society being critiqued because it doesn't like the fact that it might be the bad guy. And it wants to hide the reality that we are going into a world where you are guilty before proven innocent. Your rights are being stripped by a system that doesn't care, and they are part of the problem. And they don't like being held accountable for that problem. Share your thoughts. Let's have that dialogue. Be respectful. This isn't about AI slop, or this isn't about some of the other rhetoric that goes on politically. This is about the consequences of real lives being destroyed by selfish people not willing to make real decisions. Thank you.